It looks like the recording.
Hi, everybody.
Welcome, everyone.
Some familiar folks. I know some of you guys.
Some familiar faces for me, but a lot of new ones as well, which is amazing.
Good things. Good things.
Love that.
Love it. Hopefully everybody puts their video on.
Oh no, we have a bunch of haters on the video so
Asking
far.
a lot. Asking a lot.
They're trying to get themselves together, get the spinach out of their teeth. So welcome everyone. Thanks for joining us for this second in a series of rapid fire marketing consultations from SD Digital. So some of you hopefully are back from the first, which was focused on social media, mostly Facebook and Instagram. But I want to make sure that if you didn't get to attend that session, that it has been recorded, and we will send out the link in the follow-up to this session, because that's also some great material. And so this is number 2 in a series of rapid fires. And we're lucky to have Brad and Kate here. Brad is the, what do you call yourself? The co-founder and principal, is that correct?
It's more about what other people call me, really. It's
yeah, you're like the head guy or something. And then we have Kate, who is, I think, the general manager. Yes, got that right?
Sure
okay,
is.
Great. And they're going to teach us about Google today. If you don't know me, I'm Heather with the Chamber, the Membership and Community Partnerships Director over there. And we're doing these educational events on all different topics, but I think that marketing is top mind. So we're really happy to be able to bring these and bring the expertise of SD Digital to you guys today. Definitely want all your feedback after the event. We'll send out a post-event email that will also include links to further resources. But we want to hear your feedback on how you're finding this content and how helpful it is. And as far as format, feel free to submit your questions in the chat. And I think we'll, between the three of us, be following those closely. And Brad and Kate can, I think, knowing them, they'll probably stop and address it right away and kind of talk about it. And we can just do that as we go. So without further ado, I'll kick it over to you, Kate.
Sure. Thank you so much. So thank you all so much for coming to our Rapid Fire Google Strategies webinar. We're really excited to talk about strategies today and some of the top tools in Google's toolbox. So first, we'll start off with a quick introduction to SD Digital. So a little bit about us. Our name, we're SD Digital, and we've been around since 2017. We're based out of Portsmouth, and we specialize in digital marketing strategies that help businesses and small and large businesses grow. We have a growing team with 8 full-time employees and a network of expert partners. So I'm Caitlin Konchak. I serve as the the general manager, and I'm with Brad Solomon, our co-founder. He'll be doing most of the talking today and teaching you as much about Google as he can over the next 55 minutes. So now a quick agenda. We have a lot of information to go over today. So by the end of this presentation, our main goal is to make sure that you have a basic understanding of website SEO, a couple of Google's top business tools, including Google My Business, Google Ads, Google Guarantee, and Google Analytics. We'll be moving at a rapid fire speed. So if you have questions, please put them in the chat and we'll try to acknowledge them. We might save a couple for the end. But as we go through the different sections, we'll give you a couple quick pros and cons, and then also a couple tips for implementation of each strategy. So before we get started, we have a quick poll. Who here, with a show of hands, has used at least one of the tools listed on the slide?
And you could use
that. Right, perfect.
If we don't see your, if you don't have your video on, then you can just use the little hand emoji or the thumbs up, or whatever.
How many of you have used 2 or more? Perfect. Okay.
Cool.
Now, and who here who had their hands up, who's confident in their ability to use these tools? All right, so we have a confident one. Perfect. So I'll hand it over to Brad, and we'll start with this rapid fire information.
Yeah. So first of all, thank you guys. Thank you everybody for being here. We love doing this. We love being in the community. And thank you very much to Heather and the Manchester Chamber for letting us come here and do this. I guess the first question is why we even have to be dealing with this? Why do we even have to be talking about this? I think the biggest thing about Google for every business, small, medium, large business, is that it does allow you to get your name out there completely for free and start establishing credibility and establishing brand awareness, no matter how much traffic you already have or how many customers you already have. So in that way, Google and just the internet overall has sort of leveled the playing field in the business world in a completely different way, more so than ever before. So what I first want to do is just establish what is called a SERP, right? Because we're going to be going down this list right here over the next hour. So a SERP is what's called a search engine results page, okay? And there's basically 4 different sections of the search engine results page, all of which we're going to talk about. The first section is what's called the Google Guaranteed Listings. This is a special section where you can pay to be in this program. We're going to talk about it. Second section are your paid ads. Third section over here are the Google My Business or the Google Maps listings. And then the fourth section are the organic listings. The reason that I established this up front is that a lot of times people ask us questions like, how do I get to the top of Google? And unfortunately, that's an impossible question to answer because I don't really know what they mean. I don't know which top they're talking about. And by the way, the top of Google can mean a lot of different things depending on what you're actually trying to get there for and what keyword, and we're going to get into all that kind of stuff. But these are the 4 kind of main things that we're going to cover. And then we're also going to cover Google Analytics as well. We're going to kind of give you the basics on how to dominate as many of these different facets of the search results page that you possibly can for the maximum amount of visibility for your business. We're actually going to start from the bottom up. We're going to start with organic website SEO. So the first question that you really need to kind of understand, and I don't know why I capitalized D, but that's because I didn't have a copy editor to look at this first. Kate caught it right away though, I'm sure. So how does Google actually decide who to put where on this first page? Like, how does Google even figure that out? It's not really an easy question to answer, and it's not necessarily something that anybody here, myself definitely included, knows the 100% answer to, because Google is always sort of rearranging that. They're always coming up with new ways to rank businesses and so on. But at the end of the day, the most important thing is trying to get there, right? So there are some things that we know will influence this. So the first thing that I want to go through is, see, I told you, Heather, it's doing it again.
Oh, no.
We are skipping. There we go. Let's see. Slide number 10. See, I'm telling you right now, it skips. These are the factors that we know make a difference on which websites get ranked on the first page of Google in the organic listings. Number 1, the actual performance of the site, the performance of the page, right? How fast the pages are. How much code, how much dirty code is actually on the pages and slows everything down. Google hates that stuff. They love fast websites. Number 2, site content. How relevant is your content based on that thing which is being searched for, right? So that's where content generation strategy really comes in. A blogging strategy, having pages that have one purpose to rank for one particular keyword or keyword set, right? All those kinds of things really do matter. How mobile optimized is your site? Google has adopted a mobile first mentality, which means that most people searching are doing so from a phone or tablet, but that's actually very minute. Most people are using their iPhones or their Android or whatever, their smartphone. So a website that performs well on mobile and is mobile friendly is going to overall do better in Google search because it is simply providing a better experience to the user. And Google is all about providing a great experience to the user. They don't charge you money for it, but one thing to keep in mind is that if you are not paying money, if you are not paying for the product, you are the product, right? So the reason that they want you to have an amazing experience is that way you'll continue to use the search engine, and that way they keep all the eyeballs and they are able to sell more advertising. That's the game plan. So mobile device, mobile optimization is huge. Security, how secure is your site? Do you have your HTTPS in the top left-hand corner? Do you have your SSL certificate, or does it say not secure up there? Google will flag you pretty quickly for that and potentially even blacklist you or de-index you. So you never want to have that happen. If your site says not secure in the top left corner, call us or any other agency on the face of the earth immediately and have them take care of it for you. The fifth and primarily the most important thing about a website is the domain authority. So the domain authority is how long a domain has been established, how many people have visited that domain over the years, just basically how much authority it has in Google's eyes, right? That's one of the reasons why Amazon can just be at the top of every single search. Home Advisor is at the top of every single search. Yelp, top of every search. Why? Because it has the most authority. There are these massive sites that so many people trust. Google almost always indexes them first because they just have the most authority. So that really is the primary thing that can affect everything else and all the other ranking factors. This is what we mean when we say be mobile responsive. Be mobile responsive. So as you can see, you got phone, you got tablet, big screen, medium-sized screen, laptop-sized screen. You want to make sure that it's a great experience no matter what somebody is actually using. Let's talk about conversion. Conversion on the actual site, not only does it help your SEO to have conversion factors happening, form submissions, phone calls, but it's really the only reason we care about SEO. It's really the only reason that we care about ranking in search, because we want phone calls and we want leads. And that's what conversion is all about. So just to kind of give you a quick example of what I mean, in order to make your site convert better, you've got to give people the ability to convert and make it easy for them to do it. So put a phone number in a prominent spot where the eye just naturally goes. And it's easy for people to click it or dial the numbers. Give them a lot of forms, give them a lot of things to do, give them a download that they can grab information from your site and sort of become a lead. These are all things that you can do to not just get traffic to your site, but really enhance the experience and the return on investment when they actually do get there. It's all about this, right? There's no reason to drive a bunch of traffic to a website and get really good search rankings if you don't convert those people into customers or at least leads. That's the only reason that we do really any of this. Pros and cons of SEO, or search engine optimization as it's actually called, organic search rankings, the pros and cons. Number one, this is a long-term play. This is like you're building equity in the search engines. Put a different way, long-term search optimization is like training Google to understand that you are the most valuable and important result for the term that's actually being searched. And that takes a long time to establish that trust, just like with a friend, right? It takes a long time to establish trust. And that's exactly what you're doing with Google. Don't betray it by having a not secure thing in the top left corner or not being mobile responsive. It's sticky. So once you establish a good search engine placement, it tends to last a lot longer as opposed to other things that we'll talk about, which are just going to go away. And it has a very high return on investment. So if you spend $500, $1,000 a month, $250 a month doing search engine optimization, and we do a good job of it, that can pay dividends for the very, very long term. We have a client on the first page of Google, the SERP that I showed you guys a little while ago, one of those lawn care companies. We started working with them a long time ago, and their business has just blown up. Not because of the SEO. They're doing a great job for clients, but that certainly helps to have that level of visibility. So the ROI is definitely huge on it. The cons, delayed gratification, right? You don't get to Google. You don't get to be number one in the organic ranks overnight. It takes a long time. It takes a lot of work for a lot of industries. There's a lot of competition. And additionally, sometimes it's not enough. As we looked at before, there's 4 sections of a search result. Being number one in the organic still puts you down 10 positions, 7, 8, 9, 10 positions. So it may not be enough to actually get the traffic that you need in order to keep your business, moving quickly. So how to win? Number one, what you need to do is track the performance. Okay. You need to see where are we in terms of our, Google keyword rankings, and we have tools that give you the ability to do this. So you may choose 10 things that you want to get into the top of Google search for. How were you doing last month? How were you doing last year? And how are you doing now? Where does your site actually rank? That's kind of stuff that we and any marketing agency for the most part should be providing to you. Pay attention to your page speed. Again, huge ranking factor. If your site is slow, you're gonna have a hard time ranking. You're gonna have a hard time getting Google to send people to you if your site is providing a bad experience and if people are just bouncing off of it. So Make sure that it's quick. Make it simple for people to take action. Phone number, top right corner. Form on the left. Make sure that your information is prominent at multiple spots and that it's easy for people to know what to do next. That will absolutely help. And most importantly, try and optimize your site for the words that matter the most to you. So I go back to the person that says, hey, how do I get to the top of Google? It's really the wrong question to ask. So let's take, for example, the person that owns a furniture store. You're not going to get to the top of Google for the word chair. It's just not going to happen. It's going to be a waste of your time, a waste of your money, and it also may not be the right thing because somebody looking for a chair might not be looking for this chair if this is what you sell, right? So if you own a furniture store and you tend to sell, trendier furniture, then what you want to do is some keyword research or have somebody do it for you that really looks at, okay, what are the things that people are actually searching for that would be a good match for your particular business? The word chair doesn't help you. If you sell office chairs, maybe chairs for office. Even better, if you want to go with something a little longer tail, fun chairs for the office. There's going to be less competition for that term. That means that it's lower hanging fruit for you and potentially a better customer that is really looking for what you actually sell. So choose your keywords wisely. Don't go crazy trying to rank for every single term because first of all, you never will. Second of all, it's probably a losing strategy anyways. So it's 12:18. Are there any questions, Kate, that we should address right now, or should I move to the next section?
Nope, you can move to the next section.
Okay, cool. So I just want to show you guys a couple of other items here. So this is, again, what an organic search ranking looks like. So we're up here, hair salon, Salem, New Hampshire. We pass through, I can't overstate this. We pass through the Google Maps, we get to the organic listings. Again, Yelp is always going to be number one for the most part, if they're in your space. Same thing over here. Somebody's looking for standby generators. This client, LaPlante Electric, number one, or actually number two, because they're below this person. And then dominating the Google My Business section as well. So very important to be able to differentiate organic from paid from My Business. And speaking of My Business, let's talk about that. Because Google My Business is probably the easiest, most valuable way for you to get your business kind of on the map, so to speak. And unfortunately, it's sort of ignored by people a little bit too much. So I want to talk a little bit about what Google My Business is and what your Google Map placement is. It is essentially this right here. So when you start a business, you basically sign up for a Google Map listing, and depending on probably thousands of different factors, you will show up in what's called the 3-pack for the given search term, right? So for instance, over here, I searched for Dover area car dealers, and these are the top 3 that I get. That doesn't mean that these 3 have the most reviews. It doesn't mean that they're the best. It doesn't mean that they're the longest. It doesn't even necessarily mean that they're the ones that are closest to my house. There is no really perfect formula for why Google decides to rank certain businesses in the maps the way that they do. But there are definitely things that we know they care about. And those are the things that we tend to focus on the most. So over here, if you have a Google My Business listing, the most important things that you want to be doing are, whoops, not that. You want to be, number one, making sure that all of your information is actually filled out correctly and that it has keywords in it. So if you sell a particular type of service or a particular group of services, make sure that you use as much of the info tab as possible and put all those terms in there, right? Because that's just going to trigger to Google that, hey, this is what this particular business does. Number 2, reviews. A review strategy is, I cannot stress enough how important it is to be getting online reviews, and not only getting them, but also trying to get them to talk about the things that your company does. So for instance, over here, if you look up online marketing Portsmouth, we do appear in the maps, but the most important thing is that it says right here, I would recommend SEO to all online marketing needs. So the reason that we show, and the reason that that particular review shows, is that it perfectly reflects what the person is looking for. And that is not an accident, right? That is sort of something that is a little bit baked into our strategy, and it should be baked into yours as well. Other things, products and services. So Google My Business now has different things that you can fill out for different products that you offer and different services that you offer. So for instance, right, Allison, I know that you guys do outsourced human resources, right? Well, that's 50 different things, right? You can include every single one of those services in here, right? Employee handbooks, job descriptions, all the things that you know people might be looking for can be a service that you enumerate in your Google My Business listing, and it will just make it so much more valuable. But you have to know it's there. So these are the four main things that I would definitely be looking at when it comes to Google My Business. Now, pros and cons of Google My Business. Number one, it's easy to set up. That's a pro. I mean, you can set it up. It takes 5 minutes. They send you a little postcard. You know, many of our clients have said, I never got the postcard. Ask for it again, I guess. For the most part, it's no problem. I think they'll even send you a text message now or something. So that's pretty good. So it's easy to set up. It's highly important. You know, I can't stress that enough. It's very, very important that you pay attention to this. It's highly visible. I mean, it gets to the very, very top. It's above this. It's above the organic listings, and everybody has access to it. So that's a pro. The con is that everybody has access to it. So it's very level. So if you're just setting up a Google My Business profile and calling it a day and never doing anything with it, you're not optimizing it. You're not getting reviews. You're not making sure that the info is filled out. You're not getting your customers to post pictures. That's a detriment, you know, because if your next competitor is doing a better job, then they might show up higher. If you run into a problem, then that can be a challenge to get those addressed with Google, especially now, because, you know, they like everybody else has a little bit of a skeleton crew. And you know what, if you get a bad review, that can be a pain. And it may not even be a real review. It could just be an ex-employee or, you know, a customer that you had to fire for some reason. So, but they do hurt, right? So the best thing to do for bad reviews is we'll talk about it later, but I'll give you the secret to dealing with bad reviews after. Just make sure everybody hangs around a little longer. Okay, next thing we're going to talk about is Google Ads. This is my personal favorite thing to talk about. My personal favorite thing to actually do. Not that I'm particularly good at it. There's a lot of people on the team that are a lot better at it than me, but I find Google Ads to be the most interesting and valuable thing that a business can do. So basically what Google Ads are is it's pay per click, right? So you don't pay unless somebody actually clicks on your ad. It's that simple. So, you know, if you're trying to only advertise to a certain area, or you only want to advertise for a very particular set of services, this is a great way to do it. Now, a lot of times whenever I talk about pay-per-click or Google Ads, there's somebody in the room that says, I always scroll right past those things. Why even bother with Google Ads, right? Everybody scrolls past, nobody clicks on those. So first of all, this is a fact, more than 40% of all the clicks go to the top results in Google. So if those are paid results, if they're Google Guarantee, if they're organic, if they're My Business, most of the clicks go to the top results. Not only that, but people that click on a Google ad tend to have higher commercial intent. So they're more likely to actually want to buy something than somebody that's doing research, who are more likely to actually click organic listings. But the other thing is that, look, Google made I think $46 billion in the third quarter. I looked it up this morning when we were putting this together. $46 billion. Almost all of that comes from ad revenue. So the notion that nobody clicks paid ads is just 100% completely false. It's definitely not true. Plenty of people click them. But also, if you don't think anybody's going to click it, then you should probably run it anyway, because you don't pay unless somebody clicks it. So, you know, you don't, if everybody just scrolls right by it, it didn't cost you a cent. So what's the big deal? So that's the reason that I think it's pretty important. The other piece is that you can hyper target the location. You can hyper target all of your keywords, how much intent somebody has. So let's just say, for instance, you are that landscaper and you only want to target people in very, very specific cities or very specific zip codes or even neighborhoods. If any one of those people in that neighborhood searches for lawn care near me, boom, I want to be top of search. But I don't want to be top of search if somebody over there searches for it. That kind of thing is available. That kind of thing is not just available, it's how you actually manage a good campaign. If you only want to work with companies of a particular size, you can do that with Google Ads. It can get very, very targeted, very sophisticated, and it's a lot of fun. You can set your budget. You know, you want to spend a couple hundred a month, cool. You want to spend a couple thousand a month, that's fine too. You spend 2,000 this month and 200 next month, that's also fine. You can really modify it as you see fit. You get too busy, you can't take any more business, shut off your ads. So it gives you a lot of flexibility. Not only that, immediate returns. You can get immediate traffic to your website, whereas, you know, as with the other things we've talked about, that doesn't actually exist. It takes a long time to build up organic results in Google Maps. So now that we've talked about all the positives of Google Ads, these are the ways that you can blow your entire budget out of the water without actually generating a good legitimate click, is if you don't do it right. So we see that, and we see this all the time. This is one of the reasons that we do free Google ad reviews for clients who are either running ads or they have another vendor running their ads and they're just not sure if they're getting good returns. The reason we do it for free is that, first of all, we like it. Second of all, we almost always are able to identify things that are wasting a ton of money for them. So for example, over here, I'm looking for commercial plowing services near me. This guy is a commercial cleaning company. For some reason, he's bidding and and his ad is showing up for me here. And that is probably not by design. That is probably an accident. He probably doesn't want to show up here, because I looked at the website. I didn't click. I wasn't mean. I didn't click the paid ad. That's not my style. But I didn't see anywhere on the website that says that he does plowing services. So in this case, he might pay $3, $4, $5 for me to get to the website, and he doesn't even offer what I'm looking for. So that's the reason that somebody should be managing this on a daily, weekly, monthly basis, going, okay, what words actually produced our ads and produced those clicks, and where did our money get wasted, so that we can make sure it doesn't happen again. Because this can be a real issue, especially for bigger businesses that get a lot of clicks. We monitor this stuff for clients 2-3 times a week, because the last thing we ever want is for somebody to waste money on a click that doesn't actually pertain to their business. But unfortunately, that kind of thing can happen pretty regularly if you're not careful. So here's an example of the way a pay-per-click campaign actually works. When we run a pay-per-click campaign, we typically run it based on the location that we're in. So for instance, we advertise on the Seacoast, and we advertise for very specific services: web development services, search engine optimization, PPC. The reason that we do that is that we want our ads to perfectly reflect what the person's looking for, right? So if they're on the Seacoast and they're looking for pay-per-click ads on the Seacoast, we want them to see an ad that says Seacoast Area Pay-per-Click Ads Agency. We basically want the ad to almost perfectly mirror their search intent. That is one of the ways that you get really good production out of your paid search. You don't just pick a bunch of keywords and send Google $500 and say, hey, let me know how it works out. It won't work out. It just never will. So you definitely want to manage these things with a good amount of scrutiny. And when that person does ultimately come to your website, can't stress enough the importance of sending them to a page on your website that perfectly pertains to the ad that they saw and the keyword that they punched in. It should be very continuous. I'm on the Seacoast and I'm looking for pay-per-click ads. Perfect. I come to the website. It's a page about pay-per-click ads. Don't drop somebody into your homepage when they're looking for a specific service, or it will never work. So Allison, again, to use your business as an example, somebody's looking for HR companies who can rewrite my employee training manual or my employee handbook, right? That's the search term. That's what the ad should say. That's the page that they should see when they click the ad and visit your site. It should be, are you looking for somebody to rewrite your employee handbook? Great, call us. Here's the phone number, top right corner, or here's the form, fill it out, and we'll call you back in 2 hours, right? That's kind of how the progression should work. And that is one of the key things that we see when we look at ads accounts that is wrong, is that people are being pushed to the homepage and then the customer has to figure out what to do next. And if the customer has to figure out what to do, they won't. They will probably just leave. You got about 2 to 3 seconds to really make it make sense. Pros and cons to Google Ads. Obviously, pros, you get instant results, you get instant traffic. You know, if somebody wants to start a paid search campaign today, we can have customers going to their website tomorrow. Well, I mean, it takes a little while to set up, but you get it. I mean, it's very, very quick. It's pretty quick turnaround time. Google's fast about approving the ads. As long as you're working with somebody that knows what they're doing, they will get approved the first or second time. So it's a pretty quick thing. So for instance, let's say you do snow plowing, right? And you want to try and get it. I just need 10 more contracts to fill my schedule up for the rest of the winter. This is a great way to do it because people are looking for snow plowing in your area and you can get them just like that. You also only pay if you get a click, like we talked about before. If you never get anybody come to your website, you're never going to pay a dime. And it is highly targeted. So if you're only looking for snow plowing, but you're only looking in a particular area, and you only need 10 contracts, so you want to be able to shut it off when you get those 10 contracts, this is a nice way to do that. The cons, if your ad copy isn't good, if you are not properly managing it, if the website isn't fast, if the landing page doesn't load quickly, and if it doesn't speak to the snow plowing, right? Then it can get very expensive because you'll get a bunch of clicks. People will come to your website like crazy, and then they'll never do anything. So you'll never make any return. So that's where people spend $500, $600, $700, $800 a month and never get a single phone call because things just aren't working properly. They're not doing a good enough job. So yeah, it can get expensive. It also requires a lot of oversight. It is not a set and forget thing where I just flip the switch on and I get phone calls and I never have to look at it again. If that's someone's approach, then there's a lot of agencies I think that kind of work like that. Not around here, but people that I've seen and vendors and so on, and that's just kind of what they do. And if that's the approach, then the client is wasting a lot of money, honestly, every time, guaranteed, because this is never a set and forget program. It's always an ongoing optimization program. And it really kind of does, if you want to maximize your return on investment, it does require that somebody who really knows what they're doing is managing your account, because there's so many little nooks and crannies and places for you to just leak all of your budget out like a bucket, that if you don't know exactly what's going on and exactly where to look, then that is probably what's going to happen. So it does require some expertise. Obviously, we know what we're doing with this. There's a lot of agencies that know what they're doing with this. So if you are gonna start a Google Ads campaign, we would absolutely recommend that you work with somebody that knows the landscape. And then how do you win? First of all, don't use the smart campaigns. This is what almost every client does at the beginning. Google sends you an email and says, "Hey, we'll give you $100 of free ad spend, and all you have to do is spend $500 with us. Just click a few buttons, and boom, your ad will be live." Please don't do that. That is there's so many reasons. I could do an hour on just why that's a bad idea. But if you see Google Smart campaigns, just run, shut them off or run away. And we can fix it for you if you need. Choose your keywords wisely. Don't just, if you sell trendy, fun, quirky red chairs, don't buy the keyword chair, because there's a very slim chance that the person just looking for the word chair is looking for your chair, right? Be more descriptive about it. I may only want to show up when somebody's looking for fun red chairs. Okay, that's okay, because that's exactly what you have. But otherwise, if you do it the other way, you'll just exhaust your whole budget and you'll never sell anything, unfortunately. As mentioned before, when you write your ads, be sure that they reflect the term that was punched into Google in order to produce the ad that the person saw. So if somebody's looking for commercial plowing services, the ad should say commercial plowing services, and the landing page that the ad goes to should say commercial plowing services at the top. That is how Google gives you a good quality score, which reduces your cost per click, increases your conversion rate, and all that good stuff. I talked about the landing page already. I don't need to stress it again. And then also, it's always a good idea when you pay money to get somebody to your website, make sure that you maximize that investment by retargeting them after they leave. So retargeting is the little ads that pop up maybe when you go to another website later, but you still see that item that you looked at on Amazon. They're really following me around with these shoes or whatever, that's retargeting. And that's something that we can set up for you, or, anybody can, anybody that knows what they're doing here can set up for you. All right, Kate, I feel like I've been talking forever. Are there questions that I need to, that I should break this up a little bit? It's rapid fire.
You're doing
You guys
great.
come in.
We do have a question. So Allison asked, what is the most important thing for a new business to do at the beginning when it comes to Google?
So multi-pronged answer. First of all,
Mm-hmm.
you got to set up your Google My Business page, obviously, but put a review strategy in place. Online reviews are the single most valuable thing. And I mean, there's probably a lot of other people that would say that I'm completely off base here, but I got to tell you, almost 90% of people out there doing searches check online reviews first. Like, I'll be sitting there with my wife, right? And I'll be looking at a product and I'll go, hey, do you think I should buy this? Like, what do you think? And she doesn't even look up from what she's doing. She's like, I don't know. What do people say about it? What are people saying? What do the reviews say? You don't have to think about it. It's just second nature, right? And that goes for Google searches. It goes for social media ads, right? So the last webinar, we talked a lot about when you post something in social media, manage the comments. Why? Because when I see an ad in social media, the first thing I do is I go read the comments. And even if I like the thing being advertised, if people are talking smack about it, I am less likely to buy it, because as a human being, I want to go with the crowd. I want to feel a part of something. And I don't want to be the dodo that buys something that everybody else thinks is garbage, right? So you got to manage that kind of stuff, and you got to manage the online reviews. So the best way, and we talked a little bit before, the best way to deal with online reviews and make sure that you have good ones, and that or the best way to deal with bad reviews is to have a lot of good ones. So if you got 100 perfect 5-star reviews, or 4.5 5-star reviews, and then you get that one person that had a bad experience and was having a bad day, and they decided to, lambaste you on Google, that's not going to affect you as much as if you've only got 5 reviews and now your 6th one is a 1-star. That makes you 4 stars instead of like 4.9. And that can be detrimental. So there's a long-winded answer to Allison's question, but get a review strategy in place. Have a way to get your customers to leave you reviews, whether it be an automated email that goes to them, which we can set up. We've set that up for lots of clients, whether it be just reaching out to clients directly and asking them. Just make sure that you have it in place. It can be business changing. Were there any other? Yeah.
We have 2 more. So Jeff asked about retargeting. What is the minimum volume to qualify for this?
The minimum volume of
to qualify for retargeting.
There's not a published minimum, but we typically say that you need at least 200 to 300 website hits a month in order to actually make it. I mean, like at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter that much, because you can always set your frequency to a maximum of 1 or 2. So like if you only have a couple of 100 website visitors a month, but you want to make sure that you don't, target people 10, 11, 12 times, you can set the frequency to max out at 2 or 3. But in order for you to really see a retargeting strategy sort of show up in your financial statement at the end of the month, you need 200-300 clicks to your website each month, because not everybody's going to get retargeted, but many people are. Lots of people have privacy settings. Lots of people have, there's plenty of tools that people can implement on their browser to keep them from getting retargeted. I see questions coming. Are there more that we should?
They're coming in. Yeah. Someone else asked about retargeting. What is the time frame? I heard it expires.
It depends. And it also, by the way, it depends on the platform that you're using. But typically, we're not going to retarget anybody that's much after like 3 to 7 days after they've left your website. We want to get them back as quickly as possible, for the same reason why when a customer calls you and leaves you a message, you want to call them back as quickly as possible. 3-7 days down the road, that person probably already bought something. So if we're doing retargeting for like an auto dealership and that person's on our website, I need them in the dealership buying something within 3 or 4 days, because otherwise they've probably already bought something somewhere else. By the way, my window's open. Can everybody hear this person that has decided to do all their leaf blowing at this exact moment? Or can nobody else hear that other than me?
We can hear it, but it's just like this little
Dull
background.
roar kind of breaks it up a little bit. Okay,
Not
cool.
a problem. Yeah.
All right. Awesome.
Brett, if we could restart the whole meeting, that'd be great.
Just so everybody knows, Paul Landwehr, besides being the guy to hook up your security system in your house, which thank you so much, Paul. I can spy on my children no matter what I'm doing. But he's like one of the funniest guys you'll ever meet. So schedule a meeting with Paul to talk about security and just buckle up.
That wasn't enough. I need more.
Hey, listen, I'm never above a shameless plug, man. Every time you just throw it up there.
I appreciate it.
No, seriously though, Paul's the man. Any other ones that we should tackle right now, Kate?
Yeah, there's an easy one here. Actually, I remember Google AdWords and having to put in all the relevant keywords. Is the keyword tool more advanced at not requiring misspellings and permutations, etc.?
Yeah, Google knows what you mean. Google knows what you mean. So, we run into this kind of stuff all the time. And even when we put exact match keywords in, or we say, no, Google, we only want to show our ad when the person types these exact letters in, like we put the brackets around it. They'll still sometimes kind of take some liberties. I gotta close this. Excuse me 1 second. Google will basically take some liberties with their targeting because they kind of know what people actually mean. So just bear that in mind anytime you're doing Google ads. The keyword tool is valuable. We use it. We also use some other tools that give us better insights as to what people are really looking for, and also what keywords are going to dictate the fact that they have highest intent, right? So, and we can talk about commercial intent. Again, that's another hour-long webinar. But to answer your question, yeah, the keyword tools has gotten better and better over the years. I can blast through these last sections, and then we can tackle the rest of the questions after. I just really want to make sure that we get to Google Analytics. It's the biggest thing. So I'm just going to knock these out real quick. And I know we got about 16 minutes left, so I'm conscious of that. And I know everybody probably has to go back to what you were doing. Well, let's talk about Google Guarantee real quick. Okay. This is going to be valuable for some. It's not going to be as valuable for others. But if you can sign up for Google Guarantee, if you are one of the businesses that has the Google Guarantee available for you, and this is mostly local service business, electricians, plumbers, tree services, moving companies, right? These are very valuable services. It's a little bit of a hassle. Here are by the way, this is on our website. We have a lot about this on our website because it's been a huge thing for a lot of our clients. These are the companies that can sign up for Google Guarantee. It can be game changing if this is something that you do. The cool thing about Google Guarantee is that it's a pay per phone call type of deal. So you don't pay per click. You only pay Google if you get a phone call from it. And you get complete tracking. So you know exactly how many calls you got, exactly, you basically know, you can set the budget just like with pay per click. The issues with Google Guarantee is it is quite complicated to get it set up. You got to go through a background check. You got to give them your social security number. You got to do, and I'm not joking about this, you have to do, you need to provide your insurance information. And the reason is that part of the Google Guarantee is that they are putting their name on you. They are essentially endorsing you. So they need to know that you're a real business and that you're not an axe murderer, right? So they are going to make you go through all kinds of red tape so that when they put their name on you, they don't look bad. So for some businesses, it is fantastic. For some, it isn't as much. You do have to have licenses. You got to have declaration pages. So you got to be fully insured and the whole bit. It also doesn't work for every business. The last slide had, a full listing of the businesses that it does work for. And, quite frankly, there's some people that are just not comfortable parting with their personal information, certainly if it's not to give it to Google, right? So, sometimes when I'm getting somebody set up with Google Guarantee and I'm like, okay, and what's your social? They're like, I'm not giving that to Google. I'm like, all right, well, that's that they need that. So I don't know what you want to do. That is a concern for some people. Set it up if you can. Always review the calls. So beauty of Google Guarantee is that all the phone calls are tracked. You only get charged per phone call, and Google records all the phone calls. So you can actually go back and listen to your phone calls. So if you got somebody answering the phone and you want to make sure that he or she is doing a good job representing your business properly, you can actually listen to those calls using Google Guarantee. You can also do that with a tracked phone number, which is something that we can routinely set up for any client, no matter what. But it is just a nice little fringe benefit of Google Guarantee. Dress up the profile, just like Google My Business. It gives you the ability to add pictures and descriptions, and it ties in with your Google My Business page. So it matches up your reviews. So if you got 150, 200 reviews on your page, then those will translate over to your Google My Business page. I mean, your Google Guarantee page, sorry. And finally, Google Analytics, that thing that anybody who has a website absolutely needs to have hooked into their website so that you can see what's even happening with your website, who's coming, you know, how long are they sticking around, you know, who, all that kind of stuff. It's very straightforward to set up. Okay. You go to analytics.google.com, you set up an account. They'll give you this little tracking ID here. And if you have a WordPress, if you have a WordPress site, it's very easy to just download a plugin and put it in there. Or you can just, you know, hard code it into the header, or you can use this tag right here. Or if you have an agency or a web developer, they'll knock it out for you in 2 minutes. But it's pretty straightforward to have, and there's absolutely no reason not to have it. And also not to pay attention to it because it's your business. Here's some examples of some metrics that you can get from Google Analytics. You know, where's my traffic coming from? Are they finding me organically, just clicking around, or are they coming directly, or are they coming from social media? You know, where's all my traffic coming from? How much traffic is there even? How long are they sticking around? Average session duration, the magic number is like 2 minutes for most businesses. So if you can get to 2 minutes, it's pretty good. That means that your conversion rate's going to go up. Bounce rate. This is how many people come to your site, leave after not even viewing a second page. So bounce rate, 70% is a little strong. You know, we like to see that around like 60%. What's that? I don't know what that's all about. There's some little animation that happened there. I don't know what this is. I actually don't know what this is or what is happening here, but this looks like it's somebody either hacking into my computer or somebody making a little drawing on the thing.
Under your presenter, you accidentally clicked the button that says highlight, and you've highlighted your screen because you're moving your
I
mouse.
think it looks great.
I did, huh?
I thought you were going to tie that in, Brad. I was like, where is he going with this?
No, not at
Kinda
all.
looks- I mean, we can do like interpretation. Like, what do you see? I see a ladybug.
I have no idea what this even is, but I also know that we're on a time crunch, and if everybody can get by it and ignore it for a little while, eventually it'll be like it's not even there. You know,
If you stop sharing and reshare, it should go away.
Is that what'll happen? Okay, cool. Let me do this.
That's a good experiment.
Allison is the best. Can I tell you how awesome Allison is, and just how fantastic Blue Lion is at doing outsourced human resources, and for anything that you need as far as human resources goes. Allison Miliota, you're going to want to call her. Thank you so much for that, because that red thing would have been there the whole time. Maybe we can cut that out of the recording. But this is so this is another example, you know, so if I want to see trends, this is another really important thing. So it's not just the moment in time. It's also just, is my site traffic trending up? Is it trending down? What's actually happening? You know, if you see something that sort of alarms you, then, you know, it at least tells you so that you can take some action and figure out how to deal with it. Now, pros and cons. Pros, it gives you all the information that you need to know about your website. It tells you everything that's happening, you know, where are your visitors coming from, what part of the country, what state, what part of the state. It's all in Google Analytics. Google's tracking everything. The cons, for many people, it's almost impossible to understand. My business partner, my cousin Matt, for instance, is an absolute ninja when it comes to Google Analytics. He can just zip around this thing like nobody's business, but it is literally a language that only certain people actually understand. They use different words for everything, and I don't really know half of it. So that is a definite con to Google Analytics. It can be a little bit tough to navigate. And getting it installed can be a little problematic unless you know web design. Sam Wood on this call from Loud Canvas, he can knock that puppy out for you in 30 seconds flat. So, you know, there's a lot of stuff that you can do with this. Now, what we recommend is that you first try to understand just the basic terminology, like what's the difference between a visit and a visitor? What's the difference between a visit and a unique visit, right? So those are like basic things that you're going to want to know because they help you inform decisions. But also there's really cool dashboards that you can use. Like we set every client up with this dashboard that makes it look a lot easier to digest. You can also do things like track certain actions on your site that you want people to take. For instance, form submissions. I want to know how many website hits I have to get in order to get a form submission. How many websites do I have to get, hits do I have to get in order to get a phone call, right? If you can figure those things out, then it becomes a little easier to scale your business, right? Because then you just go, okay, well, I know that it takes 50 hits to get a phone call. So if I want 10 phone calls a week, I need 500 hits roughly. So how do I get 500 hits? All right, well, now we're talking, right? Now we're talking. Now we can start talking about SEO, Google Ads, all the other things that you can do from a marketing perspective, but it's really hard to do anything valuable if you don't know your metrics. And that's what this is all about. This is an example of the dashboard that we use, right? So this is like sort of me scrolling through the dashboard. You know, it's just a little easier. Like how much traffic do I get to each one of my pages, right? How much traffic do I get from men versus women? How much traffic do I get in the last 30 days? Oh, well, what happened there? What did we do on that day, right? So there's just a much easier way to go about this if you're using a dashboard. And that's it. That's my time. So we got 7 minutes left. Any other questions that we should, and I can go a little bit longer. So if there's other stuff that we can go over.
Sure. So let me go back. Paul asked, what are the most important things people need to do in creating a website?
Mobile. Big
question.
Mobile friendly. Easy. Mobile friendly, easy to find your phone number. I mean, honestly, it seems really simple, but we see so many websites where those things are not under control that it's like, you got to stress that stuff. So make your site very mobile friendly. And the hard part is that most websites are designed on desktops, right? So by the time the website goes live, maybe nobody's even looked at it on mobile. And, you know, so that's number one, make sure that people can have a great experience on it from a mobile device. Make sure that your conversion points are prominent and easy to find. I say phone number either in the top right corner, or on a lot of our websites, we actually put a little phone icon in the bottom right corner because most people scroll with their right hand. So it's a little phone, and it's a little animated phone thing that jumps out at you every few seconds. And that's in the bottom right-hand corner. And it's subtle, so it's not annoying, but it's easy for the thumb to just press. So just little things like that can make a huge difference. Also, if you do have Google reviews, if you've got great testimonials and great feedback, use it. Use it on your website. And the more you can show that it's legitimate feedback, the better off you're going to be. So if they're Google reviews, show the Google logo. Use a plugin to actually show it. That way you're not just, people don't think that you're just copying and pasting a testimonial onto your site. You know, the more legitimacy you can give to that feedback to make people feel comfortable, the higher your conversion rate's going to be. It's not rocket science. What else?
That was actually the last one. I did want to mention that we're offering a free audit. I'm sure you were going to bring this up, but we are offering a free audit. So I did put a link in the chat.
I actually wasn't going to bring that up, but thank you very much. Yeah, for mentioning that. No, like I mentioned, we talked about it a little bit before, but you know, whether it's you want to know how well your website is ranking in Google search, we can run a nice analysis for you. If you want to know if your website has a bunch of errors on it, and dead links, or who is linking to your site, because that can be detrimental too. If you have toxic domains actually linking to your website, that can negatively affect you. The only way to know is to run a backlink analysis. We can help you with that as well. But also if you're running Google ads, you're spending 500, $1,000 a month, either on your own or you're paying a vendor to do it. And you're not quite sure if you're getting a good return on investment. And you just want a marketing professional to take a look at it with no strings attached. We're perfectly happy to do that. We love doing it. It's a lot of fun. And almost always we're able to pinpoint 3 or 4 things that you can do today to get better performance. So
Right, that's like one of those things you say, do you want to know? Like nobody really wants to know because it's scary.
Yeah, but keep in
No,
mind,
I'm kidding. Like you
like
need to know, but you're almost like afraid to even look right deeper.
Don't be afraid.
There's always
Being
things you can do better.
It's expensive to be afraid. In this case, look, it's not like I'm a doctor and you're coming for something and you're afraid of the news and it can't be undone. I mean, right now you're basically you're spending a lot of money.
Yeah.
And frankly, even if you're not spending a lot of money, the bigger issue that we see with Google ads is that somebody's spending, maybe it's only a couple $100 a month, but they aren't spending more money because they're not confident about what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, they're only spending $250 a month, but what are they leaving on the table?
Yeah.
In the form of opportunity cost, where if they were really confident that they had a well-optimized campaign that was actually making them money and making them return on investment, what could they do with their business at that point?
Mm-hmm. No,
So
I think
maybe they're spending $2,000 a month after that, but that's good because they're making 10 or 15 or 20, right? So to us, it's less about wasting all that money and more about what are you missing for opportunity? Those customers are going to find somebody. It's either going to be you or your competitor, and you just basically have to choose which one you want it to be. And that's a really easy way to make sure it's you.
Yeah, I think that's an amazing offer to have someone with your team's experience to look that over for free. That's so cool because ignorance is not bliss, but I know a lot of small businesses that we work with at the chamber that, kind of put it over there and hope that their strategies are working, but it really is a hope and not a feeling of, knowledge is power. So I think that's awesome.
It's not only free. I mean, we raise the stakes a little bit. I mean, we've been advertising this all over, but we'll actually pay somebody. We'll actually give somebody a gift card for $250. We put this in writing. If we can't find at least 3 things that they could do today to get better performance for them, right? Then we're on the hook for it, right? That's like how confident we are that we can help everybody. And it's a 20-minute thing. It's a 20-minute review on a screen share on a Zoom where we just essentially look at your account and provide you with a full organized report after the fact. Worst case scenario, you walk away and you got, a bunch of tips to do better. And, well, that's best case scenario. Worst case scenario is you walk away with $250 and know that you're an ads ninja. You didn't need any help. So yeah, no, it's we're having a lot of fun with it. People are taking us up on it. It's a good time.
That is awesome. I love it.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess we're just about at time, but that I learned so much. So thank you so much, Brad and Kate, for bringing that information our way today.
You guys are welcome.
I will definitely send out the post-event email by the end of the week, so you all can be on the lookout for that. And that will include links to not only this recorded presentation, but also Brad and Kate's last one, as I mentioned, on social media, so that you can access that recording if you weren't able to be there live, or if you were and you want a refresher on all the content of that program. Certainly give us your feedback. Send me a reply to the emails is the easiest way on how these presentations have been serving you, but also the topics in marketing that are most top of your mind. That you feel like you could use some more guidance on, and that will be really helpful to us as we continue to develop what we're going to do in 2021 for these programs. So I guess that's pretty much it from my end. Everybody have a good rest of the week. I can't believe it's only Wednesday. I was going to say a good weekend, but it's not time. Feels like it should be, right, after the short week last week. But thank you all so much for attending. And Brad and Kate, if you want to hang out, we can just do a little quick chat.
Sure. Sounds good.
Great.
Thanks, Brad and Kate.
Everybody, appreciate it.
Take care, everybody.
Thank
Have
you.
a good afternoon.
Great job.
Bye, Allison. Thank you so much for bailing me out on that thing. I don't know what that was all about.
I'm here for you.
Not only did you know how to fix it, but you actually knew what I did in order to screw it up in the first place. I mean, that is.
So during my BNI, I actually use it during my presentation. But intentionally, not unintentionally.
Yeah, you're right. It was diagnosis and treatment. That was pretty impressive now that.
So you'll like this, Brad. If you hover over where your screen share is, there's actually a laser pointer. You hit laser. It should be in the left, just below your. Yeah. Oh, girl, look at that. You could even.
Ooh. Ooh. Hey, look at this right up here. You see this number right here? This means that you're losing money. See that?
Caitlin, I'm sorry in advance. Bye, guys.
See you later, Allison.
Bye.